Guatemala is full of incredible, diverse destinations, from the beautiful and scenic Lake Atitlan to the old historic capital of Antigua. However, one of the more popular attractions that draws visitors from around the world is the Acatenango Volcano, offering the unique opportunity to witness frequent eruptions from its neighbor, Volcán de Fuego, up close. So in today's episode, I'll be covering everything you need to know about how to visit Guatemala's Acatenango Volcano and how to best prepare for the grueling hike to reach the summit. With that said, this is Backpack Gringo bringing you a concise and action-packed guide on one of Guatemala's hidden gems. Acatenango is part of the Central American volcanic arc and peaks at just under 4,000 meters high, or about 13,000 feet, making it the third highest volcano in the country. While Acatenango itself is dormant, with its last eruption in 1972, its neighboring twin, Volcán de Fuego, is quite the opposite, usually erupting every 15 minutes. This is one of 3 active volcanoes in Guatemala, and the perfect views of the frequent eruptions is what makes hiking Acatenango such a sought-after experience. So, if you're looking to plan a visit to Guatemala to hike Acatenango, you'll most likely end up staying in Antigua. Antigua is the old capital of the country, and it's about a 1-hour ride from the Guatemala City International Airport. I'll put a link to a private shuttle in the video description below. Also, staying in Antigua is a great idea as the city sits at an altitude of around 5,000 feet, which helps you adjust to the elevation prior to your hike up to the volcano's 13,000-foot summit. I'd recommend staying a few days in Antigua just to adjust and also enjoy, because the historic city is such a beautiful and peaceful area to explore. While you can hike this volcano by yourself, people have unfortunately died trying. So don't be stupid and book a guide. There are many tour groups to choose from, but I'd recommend booking through Tropicana Hostel and couldn't recommend it enough. You don't have to be staying at the hostel, and they provided everything we needed along with knowledgeable guides to make a safe and memorable journey up the volcano. We booked this in person the day before, but I'd recommend not testing your luck and booking in advance. Tropicana Hostel offers multiple services, including shuttles to and from practically anywhere in Guatemala and neighboring countries, and also several types of Acatenango tours. At the time of this video, they have 3 tours available: the budget hike, group sunrise tour, and the private tour for 2. We picked the budget hike, which is a 2-day trip with a random group, and includes the following: shared cabins at the top of the mountain where you'll sleep that night, and it comes stocked with sleeping bags, pillows, and blankets. They also provide local guides, food and water, transportation to and from the volcano, warm clothing such as jackets, gloves, hats, and pants, free storage of your bags at the hostel while you're away, and a nice shower at their facilities when you get back the following day. While the hostel provides a lot of essential things, there are a few items I'd recommend on bringing yourself. Number 1 is a good pair of hiking shoes. The hostel does rent these out, but they were in pretty rough shape and I couldn't find one that was a good fit for me. That plus the trails going both up and down the mountain are super slippery, so a good pair of shoes might prevent a fall or two. The next item I'd bring is a poncho. I believe they sell these at the hostel, but we just bought ours at the local markets in town. The weather is very unpredictable, and the poncho definitely saved us from getting drenched. On the trip, I'd also bring a lot of easily digestible, quick energy snacks with you. Things like nuts, fruits, and energy gels are a great thing that you can quickly eat on the go. Another essential item to bring are wet wipes, since there's no toilet paper on the trail, and it helps that you can easily wash your hands and face with them. At the base of the mountain, they offer hiking pole and headlamp rentals. Both are must-haves. The poles make a huge difference going up and down the steep mountain, and the headlamp is essential for the 3 a.m. summit hike. I skipped the headlamp rental and absolutely regretted it, having to navigate steep and rocky paths in total darkness. Not a fun time. The final thing I'd recommend on bringing, especially if there's 2 of you going on the trip, is a second smaller backpack. You have the option to pay a local guide to haul up your bags on top of a horse, which makes the hike a lot easier. We put things we wouldn't need, like extra water and clothes inside to lighten the load, as the 8 liters of water we were provided between the 2 of us weighs over 17 pounds. It's 7 a.m. and we're walking to the hostel right now to get our breakfast and get our camping gear ready. On the day of our expedition, we walked to the hostel, packed our food and gear, and enjoyed a nice scenic breakfast before heading off to Acatenango. After a 45-minute bus ride, we finally arrived at the base of the volcano, where we met our guides, grabbed our hiking poles, and paid someone to take our extra bag up the mountain on a horse. After we were all briefed, we set off on our 2-day journey. On the hike up, there's 5 rest spots in total. The first ones have food and snacks, while the rest of them had nothing or maybe an outdoor toilet to use. In any case, each stop was for 5 to 10 minutes, so we didn't have much time to rest besides our lunch break. And finally, after 4.5 hours of mostly inclined trails, we eventually reached the Tropicana camp, which sits at around 11,500 feet in elevation. Our guide mentioned that usually it takes groups 5 to 6 hours on average, but we managed to shave off a lot of time because our group was young and we all trekked really hard. Despite being extremely challenging, getting to hike through the clouds and other incredible scenic surroundings made our journey up absolutely worth it. At the camp, we got a rest, and the guides cooked us a snack and a dinner later on in the evening. The camp is situated in the perfect spot with unobstructed views of Volcán de Fuego to witness the eruptions firsthand. And though the views are great now, the real magic happens later on in the night. Later on, we all went to bed early, and thank God for the warm clothes and sleeping bags because it gets freezing cold at night. You then have the option to hike to the summit for sunrise the following day. So we all woke up at 3 a.m. in the pitch black and made the final 1,500-foot climb up rocky paths to get to the top. This was actually incredibly difficult as it's very steep and the wind was super strong, but the views from the top made the climb up worth it. After we got back to the Tropicana camp, we ate breakfast and immediately hiked all the way back down the mountain to the parking lot. This was arguably harder than going up the volcano as the ground is all loose rocks and we were slipping every 30 seconds or so. That plus hiking down such a steep hill was super tough on the knees. It was a major relief to finally reach the bottom, and I can confidently say this was one of the hardest hikes I've ever done in my life, but it was absolutely worth it. And I highly recommend this experience to anyone watching this video.